AITA for suing my wife right after our wedding after I found out about her secret affair? I, a 32-year-old, met my wife, Monica, a 29-year-old, at a corporate mixer. She was a paralegal at a firm downtown, quite intelligent. She laughed at my jokes. We dated for 2 years. My parents liked her. My sister thought she was great. I proposed on a beach in Florida. She cried, said yes immediately, and posted it everywhere on social media. Her friends went crazy. We set the date for June. 6 months into planning, I realized I was paying for absolutely everything. The venue, the catering, the photographer, everything. Every time I asked about her contribution, she said she was saving for the honeymoon. At the time, it made sense. The final bill was $50,000. My savings account looked like it had been drained, but I wanted her to be happy. I wanted the day to be perfect. I told myself that marriage was a partnership, an investment. The wedding was beautiful. I stood at the altar watching her walk toward me, thinking I had made it, that I had found someone real, that I was building something that mattered. We got married on a Saturday. The following weekend, we organized our first family dinner as a married couple. My parents, hers, my sister Rachel with her 2 kids, some uncles, about 15 people in total. I had grilled hamburgers and hot dogs. My nephew Noah is 6 years old. Lots of energy. He is never quiet. He asks 1,000 questions, the kind where kids point at strangers and say things out loud like, "Why is that man so large?" at the supermarket. Everything was normal. Typical Sunday family atmosphere. Noah was sitting next to me with his second hamburger, swinging his legs under the table. He looked up and looked at Monica. "Aunt Monica, why were you kissing that man at the wedding?" The whole table went silent, as if someone had paused reality. I put down my burger. "What?" Noah took another bite, totally oblivious. I saw Aunt Monica kissing the tall man behind the white gazebo, the one with the flowers. My mother's fork fell onto her plate. Rachel leaned forward carefully. "Noah, honey, what are you talking about?" "At Uncle Logan's wedding. I went to find the bathroom and saw Aunt Monica and the tall man kissing by the gazebo. He was wearing the same suit as Uncle Trevor. Trevor, my best man. His older brother, Spencer, was one of the groomsmen. Black hair, the same rented tuxedo as everyone else. A 6-year-old had just destroyed my marriage after 7 days. They were kissing a lot," Noah continued without flinching, "and Aunt Monica's dress was pulled up weird." Monica's face lost all color. Her burger remained untouched. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Her mother stared at her. "Monica, what is he talking about?" "He is 6 years old," Monica said, her voice trembling. "Kids make things up." "I did not make it up," said Noah, offended. I counted to 20 in my head. That was what made me realize it was serious. "Noah, that is enough," said Rachel quietly. I looked at Monica. I really looked at her. She was gripping the edge of the table so hard her knuckles had turned white. Tears were falling. Total panic. "Monica," I said. My voice came out flat, too calm. "Look at me." She finally did. The tears were running freely now. Noah is telling the truth. 15 people holding their breath. "Answer me." "It happened once, and everyone needs to leave," I said, "right now." Rachel grabbed Noah's hand. "Come on, honey." But I have not finished eating. My parents walked past me. My dad squeezed my shoulder, said nothing. My mom kissed my cheek and whispered that she loved me. The uncles left quickly, without looking at us. Her parents tried to approach Monica, but I stood in front of them. "You need to leave. Let us talk to her." "No, everyone out." It took 5 minutes to empty the house. I locked the door and went back outside. Monica was still sitting at the table with her head in her hands, shaking. I sat across from her. I waited. "It was one time," she said through tears. "At the wedding, we got carried away." "And since when have you been intimate with Spencer?" Her head snapped up. "What? Since when?" She looked at the ground. 3 months. She whispered. 3 months. Half the wedding planning. Between dress fittings, cake tastings, guest lists. During her bachelorette party, when she posted photos saying how lucky she was. During the rehearsal dinner, when I gave a speech about finding my person. I laughed. The sound came out broken. I said, "I spent $50,000 on a wedding where my wife was cheating with my best man's brother. If you were half the man you pretend to be," she suddenly shouted, "I would not have needed another." That hurt differently, as if she had it prepared. I got up, went into the house, went to the bedroom, grabbed 2 suitcases from the closet, and started throwing all her clothes inside. She followed me. "What are you doing?" "Packing your things. You cannot kick me out. This is my house too." I stopped and looked at her. "Check the lease. Your name is not on it. You moved in 8 days ago. This is my house." Reality hit her face. "You cannot." "Yes, I can, and I am." I dragged the 2 suitcases to the door, opened it, and left them on the porch. "Call Spencer. Call your parents. I do not care. Get out of my house." "Logan, please. It was a mistake. We can fix it." She tried to hug me. I pulled away as if she were hazardous. "Out." She stood there crying for another minute. Then she took her suitcases, loaded them into her car, and left. I closed the door, locked it, sat on the couch in the dark, and started planning. Monday morning I looked for divorce lawyers. I found one with good reviews, specializing in family law. I called his office and got an appointment for that same week. I took a personal day, drove downtown with everything I had: the marriage certificate, the prenuptial agreement, financial records, bank statements showing the $50,000 I spent on the wedding. My lawyer met me in a conference room, and I told him everything. The infidelity, the confession during the family dinner, the prenup we had signed 3 days before the wedding. He reviewed the agreement page by page without rushing, taking notes. After 20 minutes, he looked up and told me it was one of the cleanest cases he had seen in years. The prenup clearly specified that in case of adultery, the guilty party received nothing. No assets, no alimony, no rights to properties acquired before the marriage. Monica had her own lawyer review it before signing. It was airtight. We had been married a week. There were no commingled assets. The house was mine. The car was mine. The furniture was mine. The savings were mine. She had no legal right to anything because of the adultery clause. My lawyer said if she did not contest anything, we could finalize the divorce in 60 days. He would start drafting the documents immediately. Then he mentioned something else. North Carolina had alienation of affection laws. Since we got married there because her family was from Raleigh, that gave us jurisdiction. If I could prove Spencer knew she was engaged or married, that he maintained a relationship, and that he caused the destruction of the marriage, I could sue him civilly for economic damages, the cost of the wedding, emotional distress, everything. He had seen settlements ranging from $50,000 to $500,000, depending on the case. Spencer sold cars at a dealership, lived with his parents, and probably had nothing in the bank. It did not matter. A judgment would haunt him for decades. Wage garnishments, seizure of any assets he managed to acquire, making his life miserable for years. I told him to do it, to file everything. The divorce lawsuit and the alienation of affection lawsuit hit them both at the same time, before they knew what was happening. The documents were filed in mid-July. Monica was served a week later at her parents' house. She called me that night. "Are you suing me and Spencer?" She screamed. "Yes. You cannot do this. I already did. The prenup. My lawyer says we can contest it. Good luck. You signed it voluntarily with independent legal counsel. It is valid. I do not have money for a lawyer. You should have thought of that before betraying me. I made one mistake. Then face the consequences." I hung up. 2 weeks later, Spencer was served with the alienation of affection lawsuit at the dealership where he worked. My lawyer's process server approached him directly on the sales floor in front of customers and colleagues. Spencer called me that same afternoon. "What are you doing, Logan? You have the nerve to call me? You were with my wife at my wedding, so I am suing you." "That is crazy. You cannot sue someone for that." "North Carolina says I can. You will see it in court." "I do not have that kind of money." "Then you will be paying me for the next 20 years. Wage garnishment exists. This is insanity. You should have respected boundaries." I hung up. I felt good. Very good. The divorce moved forward. My lawyer said Monica had hired someone for the process, but they were not contesting anything important. Just trying to delay, ask for extensions, file useless motions. Classic stalling tactics. I went back to work, resumed my routine. Gym in the morning, office during the day, home at 6, trying to move on. About 6 weeks after filing for divorce, I came home from work on a Thursday and knew immediately something was wrong. The front door was closed but unlocked. I always locked it. Always. I stood there with the key in my hand staring at the unlocked knob. I opened the door. Nothing seemed out of place in the living room. The TV was still there, the laptop on the coffee table, my wallet where I had left it. Then I walked down the hall toward the guest room. The door was open. I always kept it closed to regulate the temperature for my collection. Baseball cards, signed jerseys, game-used equipment. I had been collecting since I was 8 years old. I had a Mickey Mantle rookie card valued at about $12,000. A Babe Ruth signed ball authenticated by PSA worth another $8,000. A game-used jersey from a Hall of Fame player in a historic game. Things that had taken me 15 years to gather. I walked in, and my stomach dropped. The climate-controlled display case was open, the shelves completely empty. Every piece of my collection was gone. On the wall, written in black marker, "Let us see how much you care about cardboard when I am done with it. Try me." I stood there staring. I could not move, could not think. I just watched as 15 years of passion and investment had disappeared. Then I took out my phone, called the police, and then called my lawyer. The police arrived in 20 minutes. 2 officers. I showed them the empty room, explained what was missing, showed them the insurance documentation I kept in a folder, photos of every object, receipts, certificates of authenticity, everything. "Do you have any idea who did this?" asked the older officer. "My future ex-wife. We are in the middle of a divorce. She is the only other person who has a key." "Are you sure she still has it?" "I never took it from her when I kicked her out." "We will have to make a report." "You said the collection was insured." "Yes, for about $65,000 total." The officer whistled. "That is a felony, grand larceny. We will need detailed documentation." I gave them everything. The insurance folder, photos I had taken of the collection 2 months prior to renew the policy, receipts from 15 years ago, authentication certificates from PSA, JSA, and other grading companies. I had everything organized because that is what you do when you have valuable collectibles. "We will assign someone to the case," said the younger officer. "Do not touch anything. We will send someone to take fingerprints and collect evidence." They left. I sat on the floor in the hallway outside the room. I just sat there. My phone vibrated. Text message, unknown number. "Bet you wish you had been nicer to me now. Maybe I will sell it all. Maybe I will burn it. Have not decided yet. Depends on my mood. You ruined my life, so I am returning the favor. Sleep well." I took a screenshot immediately. Sent it to my lawyer. He called me back in 30 seconds. "Do not reply to that message." I was not planning to. "Good, keep it. Forward it to me. That is proof of theft and extortion." She just handed us everything on a platter. An hour later, someone from the police department appeared. A woman in her 40s, sharp gaze, moved through the room slowly, took photos, made notes, and asked me detailed questions about the collection and its value. "When was the last time you saw everything? Who had access?" "This is a targeted theft," she said. "Whoever did this knew exactly what they were taking. It was not a random burglary." My wife, soon-to-be ex-wife. "We are going to take fingerprints and collect any DNA evidence we find. We will check the marker for prints and traces. If it was her, we will prove it." 2 days later, the officer called me. "We have a match. Multiple fingerprints all over the room, all belong to Monica Patterson. We also found DNA on the marker used on the wall. Saliva from when she licked it to make it write better. It is her." "What happens now?" "I am issuing an arrest warrant. We will bring her in for questioning. The prosecutor will review the charges. Given the value of what was stolen and the threatening message, she faces serious charges. Grand larceny over $50,000. First-degree burglary, extortion. If convicted, it is serious prison time. Can we recover my collection? That is the priority. Once we arrest her, we will execute a search warrant at wherever she is living. If she still has the items, we will recover them immediately." Monica was arrested 3 days later at her parents' house. They took her in and booked her. An hour later, the officer called me. "We executed the search warrant. We found most of your collection in her parents' garage stored in boxes. Everything seems intact. We are cataloging it now as evidence. Once the criminal case is resolved, we will return it to you. It is all here. We are checking it against your inventory. So far we have found the Mickey Mantle card, the signed ball, the jersey, the bat, and most of the small cards. We are still processing the scene." Relief hit me like a truck. Thank God. She claimed she was going to return it to you, that she just wanted to scare you. The text message says otherwise. That is textbook extortion. She faces between 5 and 10 years. They set her bail at $50,000. Her parents managed to scrape it together somehow. She got out the next day. A big mistake on her part. 2 days after paying bail, I received another text message from a different unknown number. You were selfish. You put me in jail for some stupid baseball cards. You could not just let it go. Hope you choke on your precious collection. This is not over. As soon as I get the chance, I am coming for everything you care about. Screenshot. Forward to my lawyer. Forward to the police. The officer called me in less than an hour. She just violated the conditions of her release on bail. She is not allowed to contact you directly or indirectly. This is a clear violation. I am notifying the prosecutor and the judge immediately. The arraignment hearing had already happened the week before. Monica had been assigned a public defender who tried to argue she should be released without bail because she was not a flight risk. The judge had set bail at $50,000. Now the prosecutor filed an emergency motion to revoke bail. He cited the threatening message sent while she was free. It demonstrated continued criminal conduct and contempt for court orders. The hearing was held the next morning. The prosecutor read both messages aloud in the courtroom, the one before the arrest and the new one after bail was posted. Your Honor, the defendant stole $65,000 in property from the victim. Then she sent him a threatening message indicating she might destroy said property. After posting bail, she violated the no-contact order by sending another threatening message. This demonstrates continued criminal conduct, disregard for the law, and for the authority of this court. The state requests immediate revocation of bail. The judge looked at Monica. Ms. Patterson, you were explicitly ordered not to contact Mr. Patterson directly or indirectly as a condition of your bail. You violated that order within 48 hours of your release. This court takes these types of violations very seriously. The public defender tried to intervene. Your Honor, my client is emotionally distraught and made a bad decision. Counselor, the judge interrupted him. Your client sent a threatening message to the victim after receiving a court order of no contact. That is not a bad decision. It is a deliberate violation of a court order. Bail is revoked. Ms. Patterson will remain in custody pending trial. Monica started screaming. This is crazy. It is just baseball cards. He is doing this because I cheated on him. He cannot, Ms. Patterson, said the judge firmly. They are not just baseball cards. They are assets valued at $65,000 that you stole. Then you threatened to destroy them. After paying bail, you threatened the victim again, violating this court's order. You brought this on yourself. Bailiff, take the defendant into custody. They took her away while she was screaming. The following week, my lawyer filed an emergency motion for the return of property. The state had my collection, and I wanted it back. The judge granted it after reviewing the evidence. The state has sufficient documentation of the stolen property. The defendant has been charged and is in custody. Return the property to Mr. Patterson immediately. I picked up my collection 3 days later from the police evidence room. Everything was there. Every card, every jersey, every piece intact. They had kept it in climate-controlled storage. I took it home, put it back in the display case, locked it, added a second padlock, and bought a safe for the most valuable pieces. My 15 years of collecting were still mine. That same week, my lawyer filed another emergency motion. He requested that the theft be immediately incorporated into the divorce process, asked for full restitution, and included photos, police reports, and insurance documentation. The judge granted it after review. Monica's divorce lawyer tried to argue that this was a separate matter from the divorce. The judge cut him off. Ms. Patterson stole marital assets in retaliation for the filing of the divorce lawsuit. It is absolutely relevant. Motion granted. This will be included in the final settlement. Monica's lawyer looked sick, but the criminal case was the real hammer. The preliminary hearing took place in early October, for months after the wedding and about 2 months after she stole my collection. The officer who handled the case testified first and laid out the evidence. Fingerprints all over the room, DNA on the marker, the text messages, photos of the stolen property, and my documentation proving the value. The defense attorney tried to argue that Monica had legitimate access to the house. The officer dismantled him. She used the key she kept to commit burglary with intent to steal property valued at $65,000. Then she sent threatening messages indicating she might destroy it. That is extortion. The evidence is clear, added the prosecutor. And after paying bail, Ms. Patterson violated the no-contact order by sending additional threatening messages. This demonstrates an escalation of conduct and total disregard for court orders. My insurance adjuster testified next. He explained the appraisal, how collectibles are valued, showed the receipts and certificates of authenticity I had provided, and confirmed the total value of $65,000. The defense lawyer tried to claim the collection was overvalued. The judge did not accept it. Mr. Patterson provided third-party authentication for every item, certificates of evaluation from recognized authorities, receipts showing purchase prices, and insurance appraisals done by licensed professionals. The value is established. They bound Monica over for trial. The prosecutor charged her with first-degree burglary, grand larceny, extortion, and terroristic threats. Combined, she faced up to 12 years in prison. Her lawyer tried to negotiate a plea deal over the following months. The prosecutor was not interested. Your client stole $65,000 in property in an act of revenge. Then she threatened the victim on multiple occasions, even after paying bail and violating court orders. Furthermore, she faces civil liability for alienation of affection. She has demonstrated a pattern of vindictive conduct. We are going to trial. The alienation of affection case against Spencer also moved forward. My lawyer presented a mountain of evidence. Text messages between Monica and Spencer provided by her phone company. The timeline showing the relationship lasted during the engagement and wedding planning. Spencer's lawyer tried to get the case dismissed, claiming alienation of affection was an outdated law. The judge disagreed. North Carolina maintains this cause of action. The plaintiff has standing. The evidence supports his allegations. Motion denied. We go to trial. The court system moves slowly. Motions, postponements, discovery disputes, scheduling conflicts. What should have taken months dragged on for almost a year. Both sides filed briefs. Judges reviewed evidence. Trial dates were postponed. After months of delays and procedural battles, both trials were finally scheduled for the following spring. First the criminal, then the civil. My lawyer told me Spencer never responded correctly to discovery requests. His lawyer barely made an effort. I think they hope this just goes away. It will not happen. We have text messages proving the relationship. We have witnesses. We have the marriage certificate proving you were married in North Carolina. We are going to win. The question is the compensation. How much am I asking for? $200,000. $50,000 for wedding costs. $50,000 for emotional distress, and $100,000 in punitive damages for the circumstances. The relationship happened at your wedding. That is especially egregious. North Carolina juries do not like that. The criminal trial began in late April, almost a year after the wedding. It lasted 3 days. The prosecution presented its case methodically. The officer testified, explained the investigation, the prints, the DNA, the messages, the timeline, and the bail violation. My insurance adjuster testified and confirmed the appraisal, explaining the authentication process. I testified. That was the hardest part. I had to explain the collection, what each piece meant, how much time I had spent building it, how I felt entering that room and seeing everything gone and reading the threatening messages. The defense lawyer tried to paint me as obsessive. He asked if I cared more about the cards than my marriage. My lawyer objected. The judge sustained the objection, but the question hung in the air. Monica testified in her own defense. Big mistake. She claimed she had gone to the house to pick up personal items. She said she took the collection to keep it safe during the divorce. She claimed the messages were sent out of anger, but that she never meant them. The prosecutor destroyed her on cross-examination. Ms. Patterson, if you were keeping the items to keep them safe, why did you text Mr. Patterson saying you might burn them? I was angry. Were you keeping them safe or threatening to destroy them? Both. I do not know. You wrote on his wall, "Let us see how much you care about cardboard when I am done with it." What did you mean by that? I was trying to scare him. So, you admit you were threatening him? Yes. And after paying bail, you sent another threatening message, directly violating the judge's no-contact order. Correct? Yes, I was upset. That is not what I asked. You violated the court order. Yes. The jury deliberated for 4 hours and returned with a guilty verdict on all charges. Sentencing was handed down 2 weeks later. 5 years in prison plus full restitution for the insured value of the collection, $65,000, plus court costs and fees. Monica started crying. Her parents were crying. Her lawyer tried to request an appeal. The judge denied it. Ms. Patterson, You committed these crimes in a calculated act of revenge. You stole valuable property. You threatened the victim on multiple occasions. Even after paying bail and violating the orders of this court, you showed no remorse until you were caught. The sentence is fair and appropriate. Bailiff, custody of the defendant. They took her away. My lawyer and I left the courthouse. It went better than expected. She will serve 3 years with good behavior, but the restitution will follow her forever. Even after prison, she will keep paying you. And we have not even gotten to Spencer yet. The alienation of affection trial began 5 weeks later. Civil case with a lower standard of proof. Preponderance of the evidence instead of beyond a reasonable doubt. My lawyer presented our case over 2 days, showed the text messages. He called witnesses who had seen Monica and Spencer together at the wedding. He showed photos from the event where they were seen in the background looking very cozy. Even my nephew Noah testified. Rachel brought him. The judge allowed it because he was the first person to uncover the affair. Noah explained exactly what he had seen behind the gazebo. Simple, honest, devastating. Spencer's lawyer tried to argue that Monica had pursued him and that he was also a victim. The jury did not buy it. The jury deliberated for 6 hours and returned with a liable verdict on all counts. Compensation awarded, $75,000. $50,000 for economic damages and $25,000 for emotional distress. Spencer went white. His lawyer tried to ask for a reduction. The judge denied it. The jury has spoken. Judgment is entered. The defendant will pay $75,000 to the plaintiff. Furthermore, I award the plaintiff attorney fees and court costs. Mr. Morrison, you will be paying for a long time. My lawyer filed the garnishment order the next day. Spencer's salary would be garnished 15% each month until the judgment was satisfied. With his salary, that would take about 20 years. I left the courthouse that day feeling something I had not felt in months. Peace. Money started coming in that summer. Monica's restitution payments were automatic. 15% of what she earned working in the prison laundry was sent to me monthly, just a few dollars. It barely covered my gym membership, but Spencer's garnishment was different. 15% of his commissions as a car salesman was noticeable. The first payment was $300, the second $450. The third month he must have had good sales because I got $700. My lawyer called it the slowest revenge. Watching the balance increase month by month. Knowing Spencer had to watch his checks shrink for the next 2 decades. Knowing that every time he sold a car, I got a cut. By autumn, I had collected $8,000 between the two of them. By winter, $15,000. By the following spring, the total reached $22,000. There was still a long way to go, but the math worked in my favor. I would recover everything I spent on that wedding and then make money. The judgment was $75,000 from Spencer plus $65,000 from Monica. In total, $140,000 for me. In the end, I had spent $50,000 on the wedding. That left me $90,000 ahead when it was all over. But the best revenge was not the money. It was watching my life improve while theirs crumbled. Trevor got in touch with me about 6 months after the civil trial ended. My real best man, not his brother, called me one night around 8. I almost did not answer. I looked at his name on the screen for 3 rings. I answered on the 4th. He did not waste time. He said he was sorry. He said he had no idea what Spencer was doing. He said if he had known, he would have handled Spencer and told me before the wedding. He said he understood if I never wanted to speak to him again, but he had to try. I believed him. Trevor and I went back to high school, 15 years of friendship. He had been there for everything. My dad's heart attack, my first serious job, every major moment. That his brother was untrustworthy did not make him untrustworthy. We met for lunch the following week for burgers at the place we went to in college. We sat across from each other in a booth. He looked bad. He said all this had destroyed his family. His parents barely spoke to Spencer. His mother cried for weeks. Spencer moved out, and no one knew where he lived. I told him I did not blame him, that what Spencer did was on Spencer, that we were good. If he wanted us to be good. His eyes watered. He said he appreciated it, that he thought he had lost his best friend because of something his brother did. We remained friends. We kept eating together once a month. We kept texting about sports games. We still had that shared history. Some things were bigger than family drama. My real friends started reappearing around that time, friends I had drifted from after the divorce. They had given me space, let me process. But over time they came back, Started inviting me out again. Basketball on Thursdays, card nights, weekend trips. I went, started living again. I remembered what normalcy felt like. One of those card nights changed everything. We were at my friend Calvin's house. 6 guys, pizza, and cards, a normal night. Calvin mentioned his girlfriend's friend would stop by later to drop something off. He said she was nice, newly single, worked in physical therapy. She arrived around 9, walked in wearing jeans and a zip-up hoodie, dark hair, fit, nice smile. Her name was Alyssa. She recognized me instantly. Turned out she had been at my wedding. One of Monica's college friends. She knew everything. The affair, the arrest, the trial. She looked at me differently than others from that time did. Not with pity, but more with respect. We talked for about 20 minutes while she waited for Calvin's girlfriend. She asked how I was. I gave her the short version. She said Monica always made terrible decisions and that this fit. She said she stopped talking to Monica after finding out what happened. That someone who is unfaithful at her own wedding is not someone worth knowing. Before leaving, she gave me her number. Told me to text her if I ever wanted to get lunch. We started dating shortly after. No rush, forcing nothing. Just 2 people who liked spending time together. She understood me, knew what I had been through. She never pressured me, never made me feel like I had to prove anything. My life improved fast. Within a few months came a better job offer, regional manager position, a 20% raise. I took it. That summer I bought a new truck. Traded in my old sedan and got something I really wanted. I started traveling. Short weekend getaways. I posted some photos. Nothing exaggerated, just living. Alyssa appeared in some. Looked happy. Looked like someone who had her life together. Monica saw them. I know because her mother tried to contact me. Left a voicemail saying Monica was having a hard time and maybe I could show a little compassion. I deleted it and blocked the number. Then Monica tried directly. She got out of prison about 20 months after sentencing, early for good behavior. She called me from her mother's house 3 days after getting out. I answered because I wanted to hear it. Her voice was shaking. She said she had made a terrible mistake. She said she thought about me every day in prison. She said she wanted to apologize in person. She said she had changed. I let her finish. Then I spoke. You robbed me, threatened me, and tried to destroy things I cared about. Now you get out, and suddenly remember I exist. That is not change. That is consequences catching up to you. She started crying. She said she had nothing, no job, no money, living with her parents, with a criminal record following her everywhere. You earned all of that. We were married. That has to mean something. It meant something until you decided to be with Spencer at our wedding. Afterward, it meant nothing, and it still means nothing. I see you are with Alyssa now. That woman was my friend, said Monica with a sharp voice. You moved on very fast. You must have never loved me if you could replace me so quickly. I laughed. Really, I laughed. You were unfaithful for 3 months. You were with someone at our wedding. You stole my collection. You threatened to destroy it. And you are mad because I am dating someone. You are unbelievable. I am sorry. I know I messed up, but we could try again. Start fresh. I would rather chew glass. I hung up. Blocked her number. That door was welded shut forever. 2 weeks later, Spencer appeared at my house. I was bringing in groceries when he arrived, parked on the street, and got out. He looked bad, thinner, older, exhausted. He walked up my driveway like he was walking toward a severe punishment. He stopped about 10 feet away. Waited for me to recognize him. I kept unloading bags. Logan, he said, can we talk? No. I need to explain myself. I do not care. I am drowning. The garnishment is killing me. I can barely pay rent. I lost my job at the dealership. I am working part-time at a warehouse. Every paycheck gets cut. I will not survive 20 years like this. I stopped and looked at him. And I am asking you to stop. The judgment. I will pay you another way. Just stop the garnishment. Not going to happen. Logan, please. I made a mistake. I am sorry. I know I ruined your marriage. I know I messed up, but this is destroying my life. Good. His face crumbled. Do you really hate me that much? I put the last bag on the ground, walked over, and looked him straight in the eyes. You were with my fiancé for 3 months. You were with my wife at my wedding behind a gazebo where a 6-year-old saw you. You did not care about me then. I do not care about you now. You will pay every last cent. And if it takes 20 years, even better. That way I will watch you suffer longer. He tried to speak. I cut him off. Get off my property. He left, got in his car, and drove away. I never saw him again. In the end, the math worked out. By the 3-year mark, I had collected $58,000. I crossed the threshold, recovered everything I spent on the wedding. Everything that came after was profit. Every garnishment check, every restitution payment, pure profit. I kept the statements in a folder. I watched the numbers rise, watched the balance go from red to black, and then to green. 5 years after the wedding, I was $92,000 up. New truck, rebuilt savings, investments growing. Alyssa and I bought a house together. Nothing huge, just a solid 3-bedroom home in a good neighborhood. We built something real. Monica was still working minimum wage jobs with a record, still living with her parents, still sending me a few dollars a month. Spencer was still working hard in the warehouse, still watching his checks disappear. He still had 15 years of payments left. Trevor and I ate together every month. We remained solid friends. My collection was in a climate-controlled display case in the new house. Every card, every jersey, every piece was still mine. I won. Comment. I think the most powerful part of this journey wasn't the legal battle, but the moment he valued himself enough to walk away. Sometimes standing up for your dignity feels incredibly hard, especially when your heart is broken. It reminds us that true self-respect means refusing to accept anything less than honesty and loyalty. Notice how his life began to rebuild once he surrounded himself with genuine people who respected him. We often think getting even means making others pay, but the real victory is finding your own peace and stability. You have the right to set firm boundaries to protect your emotional well-being and your future. Actions always carry weight, and seeing someone take responsibility for their happiness is truly inspiring. I hope this encourages you to take a closer look at the relationships in your life and make sure they bring you support, not pain. Remember, you deserve a partner who builds you up rather than tears you down. Prioritize your peace of mind above everything else, because that's where real success lives. If you like the stories, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.